Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mithils Pods. This could just be one of the most insightful and valuable episodes in terms of knowledge. I've brought along with me Dyumna Madan. Now, if you've already heard of that name somewhere before, Dyumna was actually a part of the CEO challenge, which was hosted by Masters Union. Dyumna was actually funded by Ankur Variku. Now, what is this CEO challenge? It's essentially a teenage entrepreneurship uh, competition where teenagers have to come in and pitch their potential or imaginary or real startups for which three judges could invest or not invest according to their choice. Dyumna was Dyumna had the interest of all three judges, and she was finally funded by Ankur Variku. Dyumna's business was real. It was called Project Clay, and we speak a lot about that in the episode. So you'll find out what Project Clay is. Dyumna has a lot of experience. I felt that it helped me as an aspiring entrepreneur. I'm sure it'll help all of you who are looking to, if you're someone who's ambitious, if you're someone who's looking to start something of their own, I think this episode is a must watch for sure. We spoke a lot of things that isn't really discussed in the field of entrepreneurship. We spoke a lot about the struggling phase, which in my opinion isn't really discussed, of how what the behind the scenes of the struggles are, where you work hard and don't get any results, especially in the beginning when nobody believes in your idea, etc., etc. I think you guys will have great fun. So yeah, enjoy. Tell me what you guys think. Every episode would be available on Spotify, the audio version in advance. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Okay. Dyumna Madan, thank you for coming. I never thought that you'd actually respond and hit me back and take your time to do this, but thank you so much for coming. I feel like you're going to be the most insightful guest on this show, mainly because of two reasons. One is I think you're like one of the most successful people. You're the most successful person that I've had on the show, and also because I believe that at such a young age, if you can create a business and make such a significant impact in terms of entrepreneurship, you would have m- much greater experience and value than people of your age. So you'd be ahead of them by a mile or two. So is that correct? And am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I started my journey at 14, so it's definitely given me an advantage over my peers. You're right about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I did a little research on you before this because I was very excited.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do something fun. Let me explain what Project Clay is, and then you can sort of come in and tell me if that's pitch in
Cool.
your correct or wrong. Okay. So Project Clay is essentially a platform for people who are going to go to university, where you third or fourth year university students come in and explain courses to them, explain the reality of their course and their college, so that these kids know what they're getting into, they know the ground reality, and they can then decide if it's right for them or not. And also after this you have a lot of skills courses like podcast, and you've spoken about it in several interviews. Is that correct?
So yes, we do help them find the right fit for them. But another thing is कि these third and fourth year students then help them apply to that college as well, right?
Acha,
So
okay.
we realized कि यार traditional college counseling has a lot of flaws. एक तो a 45, 50-year-old will be teaching you how to get into college. They haven't stepped foot on the campus in 30, 40 years.
Correct.
So how
Correct.
will they guide you accurately? And it's
Correct.
very expensive. A friend of mine
Hmm.
paid 6 lakhs a year for counseling, which is
It's
insane.
counseling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so that's what we say कि यार, if you want to go to Harvard, a Harvard student will guide you through the whole process. You know, through writing your essays, what extracurriculars should you build, all of that, and obviously they'll tell you is Harvard the right place for you. So that is there. And yes, you're right. We also do skills in a one-on-one format. Whether you're a school student, college student, you want to set up your first website, start your first podcast, anything, we help you through the process step by step.
And also I feel like one more thing why this is great is because these college students, they've actually got into the college, so they
Exactly.
must be knowing something of how to get in, those little small tricks and tips. I think that
Correct.
would be very helpful.
Correct,
And
Mithil.
I've seen that you've been getting, yeah, go on,
Go
go on.
ahead. Go.
And I've seen that you've been getting a lot of success also. I've seen your LinkedIn posts. A lot of students have been getting in through your like website.
Yeah. Um,
um okay, so another thing that I researched about you is that you were never really interested in academics, right?
yeah.
Which is why you started business and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that, like how this idea came up to you. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I wanted to be a footballer all my life. Okay,
do you watch
so
football?
I'm a United fan.
Oh my god, I'm a City fan, so it's over. This
Oh,
podcast is over. I'm gonna end it. At least you guys won the FA Cup, so good
yeah.
stuff.
We
Okay.
needed something
Yeah.
famous,
Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, यार फुटबॉल खेलना था या क्रिकेटर बनना था. तो
Okay.
I loved cricket, loved football, but sort of realized parents talked me and said, "Dad, you have to make money also, and especially in women's sports, very little money, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's coming up, but a slow progression. So I thought, okay,
Yeah.
next best thing. I'm a part of a business family. Let's do business. So what happened was I was applying to summer schools, and
Hmm.
they were very expensive. Yeah, Howard is five
Abroad.
thousand dollars.
Summer
Yeah,
schools
yeah.
abroad. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So very expensive. So I said, screw it. I'll just make my own summer school. So that's how it started. As a screw you to Harvard, screw you to Stanford.
Okay.
कि
Okay.
I'll make a summer program at $0.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
तो वैसे स्टार्ट हुआ कि I emailed thousands of college students, said, look, I want to set up a summer program. Whatever you're learning in college, just come teach it, to high school students. And out of the 1,000 people we emailed, 20 said, okay, we'll take a chance on you. And that's how we set up our first summer program. And we just messaged our friends, said, this is what we're doing. First edition, we got 700 students to sign up after a lot
Okay.
trying different methods. And then next year we had about 4,000 students come in and join us. And yeah, that's how we started, and I took a gap year to sort of grow this. And a lot of
Yeah,
good
we're
stuff
talking
happened.
about the gap year also. Yeah. That
Yeah,
gap
yeah.
year must have been hard to convince your parents, especially Indian parents,
Oh my
right?
god, yeah. Shit, dude, that was the
I
hardest
want
thing
to
I've
talk.
done in my life.
Yeah. Wait, before that, I just want to talk a little bit about that struggle phase that you had because, you know, I speak from experience when even in high school, I was very ambitious and I wanted to. It's actually a very similar story. I wanted to be a cricketer all my life, and then
Okay.
that sort of didn't happen. And
Yeah.
then I was like, Abhi to kuch, I have to do something different. I want to be ahead of everyone in my age. So then I tried a few businesses, didn't
Mm.
work. Now I'm into content creation.
Mm.
I want to talk a little bit about that struggle phase that you had because that must have been hard. It was very hard for me. There were a lot of days where I late nights and where you get no results. You work hard and you get no results. Talk a little bit about
Mm.
that. You said you emailed a lot of people. How did that work for
Yeah.
you?
So I think that was the greatest. One thing is ki rejection as a kid is hard because mostly,
Yeah,
anything you want, you get as a kid, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
so that initial stage where we were emailing so many people and one out of 100 would respond, one out of 10,
yeah.
50, 60 people would respond. Most people would ghost you.
Would you
So that,
like manually email them, or would you like was
yeah,
there
yeah,
any
yeah,
software
yeah. So what we do
manually?
is we search day in the life Howard student, go to
Hmm.
their YouTube page and then search their channel for an email, then email them और LinkedIn पे
Oh,
जाके हार्वर्ड पे alumni पे जो भी ये सब बहुत बहुत ट्रिक्स यार.
and this
It
is
was
one person.
yes, just for one person. And
Oh,
it's hard, right? कि पहले तो बच्चे नहीं मिल रहे. How do we get leads of how to message people? And second, once we get it, also no one's responding. Oh, and a
no one
third thing,
responded.
कि they were in the US, so you had to accommodate their time zone, obviously, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would have to wake up at
Hmm.
5 a.m. I was living in a boarding school that time, so I'd wake up at 5 a.m., walk
Hmm.
up to my boarding school, which was a
Hmm.
20-25 minute walk, and at the last minute they'd be like, oh, can't make it today, let's do tomorrow. So yeah, I feel like that was the hardest because see, after a week you get into the groove. You're messaging 50, 100 people every day. You know that someone will message, something will happen, but it's yeah, last minute they're canceling, and it's you understand that at that time your value is nothing, and it's like people keep reminding you, your worth is nothing, your value is nothing. Because obviously someone doesn't respect your time, all of that, and I get it, right? I was a 15-year old kid. Why would they trust me?
Why would they
Um,
exactly? Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, so why would they, it wasn't like it was a priority for them, which I completely understand. So I think that was hard at that time. But after that, yeah, once we got through that phase, it's been pretty good.
Would you say like have you heard of the compounding effect, like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
graph, it's just that and
yeah,
then it goes up like that? Would you
yeah.
say entrepreneurship is this, especially starting off, is that,
Hundred
is that
percent,
graph?
100%. You're absolutely right. Ki at the start, it was like it was going like this, and then once we figured out how to do it, went like this, and now, now that I have a bit of experience and content creation, I'm also into content creation, so that's going
That's
very
great.
well.
That's
Where our
great.
LinkedIn and Instagram, a lot of videos are doing really very good. So now it just feels like, it feels like 4 years later now is when it's getting started. 4 years ka it was just all this homework
Yeah.
and back
Yeah.
work and all this research and all of that, and now is when we're getting to see the results. So 100% it is compounding, and you just have to. And there is a lot of rejection, so at the start there is a lot of roadblocks, and then as you grow it just sort of gets less because you have more connections, more opportunities, all of that, so it gets easier with time, and the growth is exponential.
So correct me if I'm wrong, okay? So
Yes.
I would say, looking at your journey so far, the biggest lesson that I would take and give to others is, don't give up, keep at it, because you struggled for 4 years, right? And for a normal kid, they would send around 20. For me also, I agree, I would send around 20, 30 emails and say, this is going nowhere, just close the laptop, go to sleep. And next day I would like tell uh tell my classmates, bro, this business thing, no, it's not working, bro, let's just forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
and see, the thing is, we knew our first year would be very hard. Right? We knew getting the instructors would be very hard, but once we had that 700 students that took it, the feedback we got was great. So that kept us going. I
Mm.
feel like you're right. If I had to do this for 4 years with no results, then maybe I wouldn't have been able to keep it up. But we had 4,500, 5,000 students take our courses and tell us, what you guys are doing is good, and we had a fire going. Yes, we didn't make any revenue, uh,
Hmm.
which was hard,
How much
but
did you invest anything in this?
nothing. So यार domain
Okay,
के लिए
perfect.
1,000 2,000
Yeah,
rupees.
yeah, okay,
That's it.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now, obviously, starting, as I said before, starting a business in India is very absurd, especially when you're 13, 14 only. It's absurd to hear. Okay,
Mm,
now I want to talk about something that people don't talk about usually, but I feel like it's important.
mm,
Parents, like Indian
mm,
parents, and like the peer, the social circle that you get, like, normally when you tell them that, and you may have different parents, but normally when you tell them, I want to start a business, they would say, okay, but just focus on studies also, make sure that's going right. What was that
mm.
journey for you in with parents?
So यार, first 2 years, एक तो I didn't tell my parents I was doing this. I didn't have to, right? My grades were good, and
Okay,
I just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
look. It wasn't like anything was going wrong. So
Hmm.
that's one thing also, that a lot of people are like, look, my parents aren't allowing. Why do you need them to allow? It's
Hmm.
just study faster and
Hmm.
then take you as a school student. You'll have 2 3 hours a day easily to give.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
I
That
agree.
was one thing. And second, I did get lucky with my parents for sure. Like their mindset is completely opposite. They're like, Dimna, you better not do a job more than 3 years.
Oh,
You
nice.
have
Okay,
to have a
okay,
startup. So
okay. Hmm.
so when I told them about, I'd always go to my dad with any issues that I have in the business. Once we'd reached that 1,000 mark, I was like, look, this is what I've been doing. And even like as my parents also, I do a lot of things. So it's not like they had to be very deeply invested. They let me figure out my own path. I was figuring out, I was doing a lot of internships, all of this. So they just thought it was another project. But when they saw I was getting serious, like I'd ask my dad about, yeah, it's a full business family. My mother's
Yeah,
a fashion
makes
designer,
sense. Yeah,
my dad and my
yeah.
brother is a baker. So he's
Okay.
younger than me, but we started an online bakery together in COVID. We made 5 lakhs there, so
Wow.
it's yeah.
Hmm. Great, bro. Great. Hmm.
Business is in our veins. Like me and my dad, that's all we talk about. So that for me. But another thing was, yeah, if they're not going to be happy with it, obviously they also wanted key, at least, get your 12th done, maybe
Yeah,
college do well, and then we can. But that's the thing, you don't have to, as long as you're focusing on both, you don't have
exactly.
to get their
Yeah.
permission for every single thing for sure.
How are you? What kind of a kid were you? Are you? Because you're still a kid. Okay, are you
Yeah.
like very? Do you go out a lot? Are you like an ambivert? Are you an
Oh
extrovert? What
no,
kind of a kid are you?
I hate social settings. See, the thing is,
Really?
I love talking to people that are, like, I love talking to you right now, right? Whether it's regarding business, or you're doing pretty cool stuff. So, but partying is something that's a bit tough for me. Social setting,
Okay.
just making friends
Okay.
is hard for sure. Networking I can do, but yeah,
Of course.
terms
Of course.
of
Yeah.
what sort of like, yeah, I enjoy my sports. I enjoy I enjoy spending this time with myself, or just on the business, or learning some new filmmaking thing. Yeah.
The reason that I asked you that is because you spoke about the idea of you have to do both, at least until you make good
Correct.
progression in one of them, right?
Correct.
So when I was doing that, I felt
Mm.
like I had to sacrifice quite a bit on my social circle in terms of
Right.
going out, in terms of
Yeah.
avoiding these distractions. Do you
Yeah.
agree?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I didn't have time that, but that's the thing. I didn't even want to make time. But you're right.
Yeah.
It was so when in my 11th grade, when I was doing both things, I was completely burnt out, because I'd wake up
Hmm.
at 4 5, go up to school for meetings, do that till 8 to 3 school, then 3 to 6 other school stuff, have dinner, then come back and work on my internship stuff. I was interning with Blue Learn at that time. So that year I was completely burnt out. Yes, you will have to make certain sacrifices for sure.
Can you talk a little bit about the internship as well? What was this
Yeah,
internship about?
of course. So, Blue Learn is an edtech startup. They help college students get their first gig. They help them learn new skills. It's all around. So the founder started it because they were in a tier one college, and they wanted to give tier two, tier three colleges the same opportunities that they had. So when I was
Interesting.
15, I emailed the founder and I said,
Hmm.
"Look, your videos are too long. Let me do timestamps for you." So
Hmm.
I started off with timestamps for the founder's personal YouTube. Then 3 months later, I followed up again, and I was like, your company is also putting out long podcasts. Let me do timestamps. This was before AI. You had to manually do timestamps. So
Okay. Okay.
that's and he was like, okay, look, can you do content? I said, yes, of course. I couldn't do content, but I thought I'll figure it out. So
That's
he
the
gave
struggle,
me,
no? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, just yeah, fake it. I'm a big believer in fake it till you make it. So he said,
Interesting.
okay, look, good work. Let's bring. So he gave me the assignment, and I did that. And he said, look, you have good energy. So I got that first job when I was 15, and then again, when I took the gap year, I went for 4 months to Bangalore to work with them again.
This time offline, right? What were
Yes,
you
this
helping them with? Content creation still?
No, no, no. So this time it was operations, because they had a content team, and this is not when I hadn't fully sort of come into content at that time. Like in terms of Instagram and LinkedIn, I wasn't very involved in it. Right now, I am. We recently, like on my personal page, I have about 13,000 followers. Posted 10 reels, and the
Yeah.
Bangalore story did well again. So now it is there, but that time I was very raw. So I am very grateful to Blue Learn. But again, like, I know you didn't really ask about this, but a question I get a lot is, yeah, how do I get an internship? But it's
Hmm.
just, if you're able to provide value to someone else, and because I get a lot of DMs that are like, look, can I work for Project Clay? But it's more like you're asking for a favor. Like, if you just, so that's what I did, right? With the founder, I was like, this is what I can do for you. This is where I think you guys are lacking. Even when I was 18, so this is I had a math test, and
Okay.
I didn't know anything. Okay, I got a
Okay.
0 and 50 on that. Okay,
0 and
so
50.
yeah.
Great stuff. Okay.
So in that paper, what I did was I used my answer sheet to write a letter to the Blue Learn team. Okay, so
Oh.
I used the spare sheet, and I was thinking, what can I provide to them now? Because I really wanted to take a gap year, and I really wanted an internship with them. So I wrote I wrote all my strong points, and I was like, look, this is how I can help you guys. And as soon as I got out that exam, I emailed them, because I knew I was getting a 0. I knew I didn't want to go to college right now.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
And like, how did that internship help? So when you were doing this internship, were you still working on Project Lake completely, like full time?
no, no, no.
Oh,
So that's the thing, right? So our thing was always summer programs. So our work
okay.
would be November, December, find instructors, Jan to April, market, right? So,
Okay.
and set up for the program. So I went to them August, September, October, November. That's when I did the internship. Then in December, I did the Masters Union CEO challenge.
See you,
And
challenge.
after that, full time on Project Lay till now.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about that CEO challenge as well. How was that experience? Great.
It
How was? Can you tell me
Yeah.
like the a little back, like behind the scenes of what happened and how you were called and all that?
Of course. So, just for context, to anyone that's watching, Masters Union put out. They have a junior Shark Tank series.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
they advertised for that. Said, we're gonna have Ankur Warikoo, Sarthak, and Shlok Srivastav,
yeah.
to come on as judges. And if you want funding, come in. So I applied, and I really, yeah. They said just it was a written application, so I got through that. Then there was a video application, got through that. Then there was a regional round. So for every state, they held a round. Everyone pitches, only one person goes through. So I was in the
Oh,
Maharashtra state
okay,
because
okay.
Goa, obviously, there weren't enough
Huh,
applicants. There were
huh.
about 30 of us on call, and they picked me to go through. And one thing was that I think the primary reason why I got picked is because most teenagers had an idea, right? But I had proof. I was like, look,
Proof.
I've worked on this for 2 years, so I know what I'm talking about. So then, yeah, then I reached the top sort of 20. They've only put out 7 episodes, but there were 15,
Hmm.
20 of us that came through to the final
Acha.
round.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was how I got there. And again, out of all of us, there were only two of us that actually had built that business. One was Himanshu Rajparohit. If I
Yeah,
think he did
yeah.
great.
I reached out to him too.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I was just gonna
Yeah,
say I think he'd be a great guy for your next
yeah,
episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I reached out to him. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
he had a crore in revenue. So I didn't even have revenue, right? I had users. But and this is always I always I'm pretty excited about this. I was able to raise more than Himanshu, even though he had a crore in revenue. Well,
yeah,
it was
yeah. All
yeah,
three of them were interested, right? In your
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
correct, correct, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun. So again, it you need to have, obviously, you should have some action taken towards your idea. I think I won a lot of team pitching competitions. I've made like 50, 60K aside from Masters Union, also winning 5, 6
Hmm.
different entrepreneurial challenges, because I had just taken steps towards my idea. So they gave that. So that's how I got there. And then pitching was fun. I mean, I wasn't everyone was very nervous, so at least I knew I had the answers to anything they might ask. I have the answers. I've been building this for 3 years. I know everything that could come up. So I was just honestly excited to see what feedback they had, and they gave great feedback. So for the past three
Yeah.
years, I've been running a summer program model, and they said, "Look, bro, switch to mentorship." And I didn't listen to them for the first 2, 3 months. I said, "Look,
Really? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah," which is, yeah, don't do that. Yeah. So they said, "Dimna, switch," and I said, "Look, I took a gap year to monetize the summer programs. I'm not switching." And I did. And but then a lot of parents would call me, and so our thing was, we are low cost summer program. So parents would call me and say, look, this is too low of a cost, this feels like a scam.
Hmm.
And that's when I was like, look, I don't know enough about this industry. I thought I was doing good, but let's try this. And we switched to one-on-one mentorship. And yeah,
And
it's
that's why you need a mentor. That's the importance of
yeah.
a mentor. That's well, yeah, that's actually well said. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, you spoke a little bit about sports, right? And how you were really into sports before you started business. Do
yeah.
you feel like that helped you, the lessons from there? Because from my personal experience, again, I feel like playing cricket professionally till the age of 15, 16 really helped, because it helped me deal with failures and
Mm.
so many
Correct.
small lessons.
Correct. No, you're absolutely right about on the failures part. So we traveled to this other school, in this other state. We went across India for this tournament, and
Hmm.
we um, we lost in the so in the group stages. We were with Cody, this school called Cody International. So we
Hmm.
lost to them in the group stages on penalties. Okay.
Ooh.
And it was their home crowd, and it was a terrible sort of game for us, where we were so
Yeah.
close, but yet so far. And
Who
then
missed the
we
penalty from your team? Were you the one who missed the penalty?
no, I it didn't even
Okay,
get
thank
kicked
God.
out of me, but I was the
Oh,
goalkeeper. I'm the
oh,
goalkeeper.
acha.
So
Okay, okay, okay. You're the goalkeeper. Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay.
So it hurt, that game hurt. I was the captain, I was the goalkeeper, and it
Hmm.
just felt like we couldn't figure out why we weren't able to crack that thing, and it was their home ground, so it was a tough game.
Tough loss.
um
Yeah.
you know yeah, everyone's booing you for the slightest things. It was an interesting
Oh,
time. right? And then
Hmm.
we met them again in the finals, and we beat them in
Hmm.
the finals.
Well done.
So that was a that was the biggest sort of learning for me, where it's like, um, you know, even if you lose, you don't have to stay down. Like, there's a very big possibility you could win again. It's just, you just have to sort of keep trying, and keep fighting with the same amount of, like, it was like, even when we were getting rejected so much, no one's responding to our emails, every email we still try to do better, because I feel like a lot of times what people would do is, if something's not working out, you sort of reduce your effort, try to increase your surface area. But we sort of kept to that. And again, yeah, football, you wake up early mornings. Our school team lost for 20 years, and then we worked
Hmm.
very hard for 2 3 years, and we finally one state. So you're 100% right. The learnings you can get from sports are actually insane. Like, when I officially start a like, the company is doing well and I have to hire, I definitely want to hire, state
Sports
players
people.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
sports
Yeah.
people. Yeah, because they know, like, sports people are one kind where they also make a lot of sacrifices. Early mornings, late nights, and
Correct. Correct.
once they put their head to something, they go all in. So I definitely have a soft spot for
Yeah.
athletes.
Winning is something that you're not used to when you're a United fan, but
Uh-huh. Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm
Okay.
kidding.
Don't act up.
I'm
The
kidding.
thing is, I can't even say anything to you guys because you just don't seem to have a bad season. Like,
No, I don't understand. I hope Pep never leaves, man. I hope Pep never dies. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. You let's talk a little about content creation now.
Yeah.
Uh, how you do you watch what kind of content do you consume?
Oh, primarily filmmaking stuff. I love. That if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I'd want to
Hmm.
be a filmmaker.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you how would you like advise a young person to start up content creation? You said shorts and reels are working really well for you. I agree. I think shorts and reels to start off with is much better. What
Mm.
would you say? Like, give me your inputs on that.
Yeah. I started YouTube also when I was 13. So it's
Acha.
there were a
Hmm.
lot till right now, till January. I had no success, right?
Hmm.
So it's I feel like Mr. Beast has great advice when it comes to this. Just once you start, your first 100 videos will be shit.
Videos are not gonna do well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Every video improve one thing, and I feel
Hmm.
like that's such golden advice. Like, that's what I did, and I sort of found my style slowly. So now you're right. I saw a bit of hesitation when you said look reels, but the thing is, if you're able to tell a story through it, um I feel like that's good. Like, a lot of people are following me for the journey. Like, mine are not 5 second reels, right? It's a 40 to 60 second sort of short movie that is following a story or
Like
any.
a NAS daily thing.
Yeah, but more,
Okay.
just about, yeah. Nas is more about like other people, right? Yeah, so
Other people. Yeah,
stories,
yeah,
but
yeah. The
all
story.
just about people I've met, or incidents that have shaped me. So yeah, the best advice would be just start. There is no hack. I feel like a lot of people also say that, the Instagram algorithm is shit, the YouTube algorithm is
Yeah.
shit, the
Right.
content is
Yeah.
just bad. Like, realistically, it's just that. There's another creator, I don't know, do you know Life of Riza by any chance?
No, I haven't heard of him. No.
Okay, so she uploaded for a long time. Okay, 2 3 years straight, and no subscribers, but great videos. Okay, she only
Hmm.
was able to do about 10,000, and then one day one of her videos blew up, and after that all of her videos blew up, and she hit 100,000 in the next 10 days. If you just keep putting out good content, and even if you think the algorithm is not working out, it just takes one video to blow up, and if you're improving one thing every day, um, you'll that's it. You don't need to watch any other
So
video.
shorts is the best way to go, according to you.
uh
Short form
at the
content.
start at the start, yes. It's less effort. It's a higher chance you blow up. So at the start, yes, but obviously, one thing I found very interesting was, this I heard this a year or two back. Ranveer Alabadia was
Yeah.
talking about how his reels do 10x 20x better, but
Hmm.
most of his sales for his meditation app come through his YouTube. So Instagram is a great top of the funnel, and then obviously, if you can sort of bring people down to your
Bring
YouTube
people
page,
down to your correct.
yeah,
Correct.
and
That
build that connection, that is perfect. But definitely, to get started, reels is good.
Have you heard of this YouTuber? I don't know. Have you heard of Iman Gadzi?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so what he basically preaches, and a lot of those people preach, is they give you a business model, and they say
Hmm.
SMMA, right? You know SMMA.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so they say, listen, SMMA is the best thing. Just do it. Just
Hmm.
reach out to people. So they give you a set business model,
Right.
right? And I've always had this dilemma, bro. I'm like, so do I just sort of continue what, should I just take what he's giving and do it of my own? Because obviously I know there are many people doing it. So what
Hmm.
makes me different? And then I'm in that dilemma. Or you've done something completely different. You've thought of a
Hmm.
different idea and then you've executed upon that. So
Hmm.
I've always had this dilemma of what do I do?
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on this?
That's a very interesting question. Yeah, I feel like in terms of ideas, जैसे a lot of people message me and say, I had the same idea, but
Hmm.
I had the exact same idea, and uh, you just took it. And I was like, yeah, bro, sorry. So I'd say it's a lot about कि एग्जीक्यूशन कि यार आइडिया तो सबके होते हैं एवरी डे व्हाट अ मिलियन बिलियन आइडियाज आर प्रोड्यूस्ड बट इट्स जस्ट हाउ यू execute it, right? So the thing is, right now you're saying SMMA, but that happens with a lot of people saying, yeah, this is already been pursued, why should I do it? It's just
Yeah,
the different thing that you can do, if you can sort of make a personal brand yourself. Obviously a cut copy paste formula will not work.
will
uh,
not work. Exactly.
yeah, seems
Exactly.
nice, but have you ventured down that path, or?
So I was so I so as so my journey, 15 years old, cricket didn't work. I'm like, abhi to kuch karna hai. And then I've watched a lot of Iman Gadzi, a lot of Hamza, and
Huh.
I realized that okay, SMMA everyone's doing. Let me do something different. Even though at that time I didn't know that there were so many people doing this. I was
Hmm.
like, let me reach out to companies and say, let me reach out to companies that are growing and say,
Hmm.
listen, give me your social media, let me
Hmm.
do everything on behalf of it, create content, post, do stuff,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
don't worry about that. You just focus on scaling your business and
Hmm.
pay me a small percentage of how much ever you make. So
Okay.
at the time I was like, wow, this is a killer idea. This is so, I'm gonna do it. And I made so many YouTube videos on. So at the time I was like, I was still reaching out and I was making YouTube videos on how you can reach out,
Hmm.
right? Which was a little dumb because I was not having success myself.
Right.
um didn't work. Wasn't I got one or two clients. Me and
Hmm.
my co-founder got one or two clients, and then 12th boards happened, and then we had to stop that, and then now I'm into content creation.
Hmm.
So that's a little bit about what I, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really recommend that, to be honest, because I
Yeah.
believe that it's pretty saturated right now. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, and the thing you're saying about, you were making content about reaching out when you weren't able to. I
Yeah.
freelance also at the side, and this one script I was asked to make for a guy that he's making a page on how to grow on Instagram. Man has not grown on Instagram. On one of his,
Exactly.
भाई एक पेज पे उसने 10,000 फॉलोअर्स खरीद के रखे हैं एंड द सेकंड पेज ही स्टार्टिंग फ्रेश एंड इज लाइक, ओ these are the hooks you should use, these are the hacks. And I was like, भाई तू कर
Yeah.
मतलब यार
Exactly.
that's a bad model, man. That is like, how do you get an audience? But
Yeah.
what you're doing is great in terms of content. Like, I feel like right now that's the biggest thing, that's the greatest leverage you could have. Like, I have zero marketing spend, so if you're able to continue this content thing and you have a community following along with you to, whenever you launch a product, they're there, they want to watch you.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. That's the, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one more thing is you can make content on your learnings. You can be like, today
Hmm.
I did this and this didn't work. You
Correct.
can't be like, guys, do this. That's weird.
Exactly. No, exactly. And I was like, yeah, you guys have failed for the past 4 months. So they spent $10,000 in coaching, and they did a lot of this. Okay. I said, why don't you make content on, you're exactly right. Why don't we make content on, guys, we did this didn't work. This is
Yeah.
what I think I should have done. You're exactly right. But सबको यार pretend करना है कि हम successful हैं. किसी को बोलना नहीं है कि यार नहीं हो रहा.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
yeah.
let's talk about funding.
Yeah.
Did you get funding? Have you got funding from any investor?
Just Ankur Warikoo.
Acha, okay.
Yeah.
So when you got funding from Ankur Variku,
Mm.
you spoke a little bit about this earlier, but I just want to come back to it. He said to switch. He said to stop doing in summer schools, right? He
Yeah.
said mentorship kar lo.
Mm.
Um, what else was he like on? Was he very involved in this business, or was he like, I'll
नहीं
just
नहीं.
take my thing?
See, it's not an he didn't take any equity, right?
Hmm.
So it was a grant. So it's more like he's
Hmm.
doing this out of the goodwill of his heart.
Or the
Uh,
goodwill, correct.
yeah. So he's not very involved, and that's how I like it. The thing is, one more thing is we've gotten a few offers like from angel investors and stuff. But once we take that, the vision will get diluted. Like today, I was pitched by a company. They said, look, whatever leads you're getting, once you finish counseling with them, tell them to take student loans, tell them to take it from us. We'll give you 1% of whatever loan they take. So if they take 50 lakhs, we'll give you
Hmm.
50,000. Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's the sort of thing where if I was funded by a VC, I'd have to take that offer, and show revenue. But
Wait,
that's
to people who are watching who don't know, what is a VC? Can you
a
just
venture
explain?
capitalist.
Yeah.
So
So what is, yeah,
yeah, so they
define,
invest in your business and they take a stake. So it's a
take a
group of,
stake. Yeah.
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 And yeah, so if we had sort of VC backing, we'd have to say, okay, look, we have a new revenue model. They want to see growth, right? Hyper growth at whatever cost. Whether you are still aligned with the company's vision or not. Our vision was always to get affordable resources. So these are just things ki, that's also not what I'd want. A investor who's very sort of hands on. Like I like this process of, that's the great part of starting early, right? Ek to you have no responsibilities. That's why I started primarily. I saw all these teachers that all my teachers had some other passion, but they were forced to do this for money, right? So that was one thing, responsibility, and second is you can learn as you fail. Right now, if there's someone saying at every step, look, this is what you should do, you'll never learn. And I feel like, see, I know 90% of startups fail, right?
Yeah.
But it's the
Yeah.
skills it's the skills you can take away from that you can translate into whatever you do next. So I think failing is very, very, very important. And I'm not, I have no regrets that I decided to pursue the sum program, because I learned, and there was a lot I learned from that process. And that I probably wouldn't have. But yes, obviously, if you have someone like Uncle Varuko telling you to do something,
Yeah.
probably take their
Yeah.
advice.
What are some cons of having a VC? Can you just, like, what are some cons of having a
See,
VC?
um, that's the thing. Like the main thing I've seen is deviating from your vision to uh, so that you can meet the next funding round. Like what I've seen a lot of
Correct.
VC
Okay.
founders say is they are cater your actions towards how you can get us the next. Is does this contribute to us getting the next funding round? So every time you're thinking about the next funding round, and you have to show hyper growth for that. You have to show revenue.
Funding
There's
round is
it's
basically they keep sorry. Funding round is basically they keep providing you money, right? They keep
right.
okay. So what do they mean when they say do this so that you get the next funding round?
So there's pre-seed. So basically, they give you the money in one go, but you first raise at pre-seed. At pre-seed level is when you just have an idea. You would raise
Okay.
about $100,000, right?
Hmm.
Then once you show that there is a little bit of progress towards the idea, you raise your seed round from maybe a
Hmm.
different group of investors. It can be the same
Hmm.
group, but most likely it'll be a different group of investors who will give you $500,000. They'll take a bigger stake. Then, if you want to, then you have $600,000 in the bank. But how much runway is that? 1 year runway. So
Yeah.
then, once you show more traction towards your idea, you raise the next round. So the aim, what I've seen a lot is, yeah, just keep working towards the next funding round. Without,
Okay.
like, you must have seen a lot of VC funded companies. It's it's not more about profitability. It's about, look, if they get from $100,000 round to a $500,000 round, let's say to a $4 or $5 million round. Once they reach the $5 million round, their previous investors can exit at a much higher
Okay.
valuation. Their $100,000 becomes 200,000, or their 100,000 becomes 500,000. So even for investors, the main aim is, how can we get our money out, double? How can, if they raise another round, we get a higher valuation for our money, we get better
Interesting.
returns. So
Yeah.
it feels to me like, it's uh just, yeah, that's a con, I'd say. Ki it's hyper growth without, and you lose your vision a lot of the
Hmm.
time. There's a lot
I
of
feel like, yeah,
pivots.
that's bound to happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine, pivoting is fine. We pivoted ourselves, but it's more like, at what cost is the pivot happening? Why is the pivot happening? So yeah, my goal is to avoid funding for as long as possible. Obviously, we're going to reach a stage where we need to have a lot more tech, and it needs to be automated, and we need to hire more people. So at that point, yes, but till I can, I'd like to keep it bootstrapped.
Okay. Very interesting.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna go a little like, I'm gonna make this because I feel like now we've broken the ice. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I can ask you a little deeper questions. Okay.
of course, of course.
What is one thing that you would like to achieve before you die? Like, what is your deathbed goal? Like, and this can be deep. So it's like, for me, it was always create impact in the society, leave your mark.
Okay.
What is your like deep goal?
But Mithil, how do you measure that? Like right now through your podcasts, you're creating an
Hmm,
impact. So
hmm.
you have a number that I want to reach a million, I want to reach 10 million people, or what is it?
I feel like influence on the people around me,
Hmm.
making their lives better in some way,
Hmm.
and them realizing that okay, because of him, my life was better, and he added some positive value to me.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
that can be anything, right? That can literally be anything. But
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like that's one way where I'll get satisfaction. What is your thing on that? What is your deathbed goal?
To have schools around the world where extracurriculars
Nice.
have are given more time than the studies. That's the ultimate goal, that I'll sell my startup and then just build schools around the world.
Wow. Okay, that is exactly. And they say when you think big, big thinkers are the ones who are likely to achieve more success, right? And I think it's very important to think big. Yeah.
That's a good sort of summary of that, because I another thing is ki yaar, when I was in Goa, so I studied in boarding school 11th and 12th.
Hmm.
When I was in
Hmm.
Goa, a lot of my friends would say, yaar, dream smaller, and that's not
Hmm.
possible.
Hmm.
And then I went to boarding school. Everyone sort of had bigger dreams than me. I remember my first day, I talked to someone and I said, look, by the time I'm 30, I'd love to have a $10 million company. And she was like, only 10 million. That's your goal. And I was like,
Hmm.
fuck, what? Yeah, if you can dream big, man, that is the biggest advantage you're gonna have.
Okay, so now you're in a gap year, right? I think your college is gonna start. Are you
Yeah,
going abroad? What's the scene?
yeah. I'm going to Northeastern in Boston.
Acha. And I saw that you were primarily choosing a college where you could focus on Project Clay. And is that right?
Yeah, US में you can't run a startup. So, um,
Really?
yeah, on your student visa, you can't run a startup. So I'm figuring something out about that. But yeah, it'll be tough. But that's the thing. Like, I've set
Hmm.
up a team here. So we've
Hmm.
been, I one of my best friends from we've been friends since we were in fifth grade. So he's helping me out a lot with this. So I think payments wise, everything will have to be. If they see payment like anything above, let's say $500 in your accounts, they'll be like, you can't work more than 20 hours in the US. You can only work on campus. There's a lot of rules to your student
Okay.
visa. But
Okay.
one good thing is, yeah, Northeastern में it's the best for co-ops. Co-ops are keys for 6 months. You go and do an internship. So we do two co-ops. So out of my 4 year degree, 1.5 year I'll just be working. So that is good, because I feel like I worked at quite a few edtech startups. I worked at Early Steps Academy. It was one for 8 to 12 year olds. I worked at Blue Learn. That was for college students. So that those gave me a lot of learnings, on how to run my own startup, edtech trends, and all of that. So I feel like the business can run. Now it is reaching a point where it's self sustainable. It can run by itself. We have systems in place, and my goal will be to maximize whatever I can learn about the edtech industry, and then come right back and
Right.
continue growing this.
I hope you get all the success that you wish for, man.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah. What's a day in a life of Dyumna look like? Talk to me like
much.
what's a day in a life of you look like right now? Gap year.
Best is Abhi, I'll wake up, I'll reply to any emails I have. That'll take half an hour. Then I'll sit down and work on a script or something, because right now most of my traffic is coming from Instagram. So
Hmm.
that is something that I have to keep up. I'll write a script. On shooting days, the whole day goes in shooting. So I'll write a script, and then I'll have a few meetings. 12 to sort of 3, I'll have meetings. Then I'll go to the gym. Then I'll come back, do maybe go to the beach. Then come back, do
Uh,
project labor, reach out to college students. So whatever demand we get, so students tell us, look, this is the college we want counseling from. So then I'll reach out to colleges from sort of whatever time I'm back, 5 to sort of 6. Any other project labor, like we're doing a lot of partnerships with um schools. So trying to figure out a way ahead with that, and then 7 to 9 is just calls to customers. Whatever registration we get every day, we'll get 10-20 registrations. So every day, so from 7 to 9, I'll just sit and call all of them, and be like, what are your goals? How can we help? And yeah, and then sort of wind down. So most of the day just goes in whatever uh project work there is.
do you, and I have this question, right? Do
Mm.
you still feel like when you finish a day and be like, oh, I wasn't that productive. I feel like I could have done more. Do you still procrastinate in that sense?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
100.
still something that happens? Really?
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like
tough.
that only happens in the beginning, right? And once you sort of take off, you automatically have a lot of things to do. I'd always assume that that had happened.
You're right. There is a lot to do, but it's also like, your brain will want to put it off, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you in college right now?
No, I am going to go to college in about 15 days. Yeah.
Array, exciting.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you? I'm sure you also have a bunch of work that you're doing, but
Yeah.
do,
Yeah. Right now,
are
I'm
you
just fully focusing on.
are you able to just not procrastinate? Does
No, no, I can't just not procrastinate. There's always a
Yeah,
sense of let me
yeah,
go to the gym and then do this. Let me
yeah,
chill with the boys and then do this. Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
always happens. Yeah.
Exactly. No, that'll always be there. So where are you going to college? Bangalore?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in Bangalore. And then so after my undergrad, I would try and move abroad. So in these 3 years of undergrad, I want to try and really focus on content creation and see where that goes. Yeah, so that's the plan as of now.
Are you posting on Instagram?
Not like just started, so not much. So right now I'm just doing YouTube. So I want to divert into Instagram and LinkedIn.
100%. Bro,
Uh,
I'd say, put all your energy towards record a YouTube video a week, but put out 2, 3 Instagram reels, and there's no way you don't blow up within a month.
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Look, would you suggest like a personal account or like make a separate account for content creation?
Personal account. Talk about everything. Like, put out podcast clips, talk about your story, talk about what you're building, build in public, all of that. Bro, it gives such asymmetric returns. It's actually mad. It's madness.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really? Okay. So let's say there's like a 13, 14-year-old kid
Mm,
who really wants to get into content creation,
mm,
or not content creation, just business in general. Okay.
mm, mm,
And he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know ideas. He doesn't know anything.
mm,
I know that there's no set formula on how you would reach where you are, but
mm.
tell me like some things that you would tell him or her.
See, first thing I'd say is, just from my experience, what I did initially was I worked with other people, right? Like, I'd go on Discord, I'd see people are hiring for their non-profit or their teen organization, and I'd work there. So there was a point where I was doing 6 internships simultaneously, working in non-profits, all of that. And that gave me a sense of what I like. So, I feel like a lot of my friends, they'd sort of wait for it to hit key. This is what I like. I just went out and sort of experimented a lot. So that's one thing I'd say कि यार अब तो YouTube भी है. So the thing is कि इतने, you want to learn design, you want to learn how to make a website, everything is on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
not just try? Like, I tried coding, I didn't like it. I tried a bunch, I learned a bunch of stuff. I've recently gotten into philosophy, surprisingly. So it's just that you never know what you're gonna like. So just try a bunch of things. Don't be afraid of getting rejected. That, I mean, yeah, I think that comes with experience. Ki rejection to
That comes exactly. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
after a bit of time, you develop that sort of outer skin.
Do you
So yeah,
read? Are you like a reader?
I've recently gotten back into it. So I used to be a big
Acha.
reader. I have
Hmm.
insane specs because of it. -7. So
Okay. I'm 6, bro. I'm not far behind. I'm like 6. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I've recently gotten it's a good habit. Do you read? You
Mm,
you do read.
Again,
You have a lot.
recently started. I just got this book and I got the Raj Shamani book. So I'm just
Mhm.
starting, yeah, just starting to sort of get into the habit of reading.
Yeah, good habit for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, man. Is there anything? Is there any questions that you would like to ask me before we end?
Uh,
First of all, why did you choose to come on this podcast? I'm really surprised. I thought you wouldn't respond to my LinkedIn message. I was like, wow, you know, I'm gonna ask her to come to the podcast.
Well, that's the thing. Like that I told you, no one responded to me. So it was out of I knew like out of 110 people respond. So
Yeah,
uh, yeah, man. Anyone asks me like a lot of people message me on Instagram. Anything, any question they have, I always try my best to answer everyone, talk to everyone, and. You're a good guy, man. I mean, potential hai.
yeah.
In the future. I know somehow we might be
Thanks.
able to collaborate, and I'm excited
Yeah,
to follow your journey. Mithil, I'm gonna follow you on Instagram, and you better start posting content, 2 3 reels a week.
done, done, done,
I'm
done.
gonna hold you to
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Dyumna Madan, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
feel like next time, whenever you're in Bangalore,
Done.
just really just reach out to me and we'll do it offline. I feel like we'll have a great conversation. I feel like
Yeah, yeah.
45 minutes is not enough to dissect your brain. I feel like I've just broken the ice, so there's so much more to pick out from you. Um,
100%.
yeah,
You're a great podcaster, by the way.
really,
This was
really,
a very fun. This was a very
yeah.
fun hour I had. You're actually brilliant. You better keep it up, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, I feel like that just comes with watching a lot of. I watch a lot of podcasts. Like whenever I get time,
Mm,
I keep
mm.
watching it. Yeah, so I feel like that comes with. But I feel like offline would have been so much better. Like I really wanted this to be offline, but yeah, no problem.
No,
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate your time, Devna.
of course. Thank you, Mithil.